Swing! Hello and welcome to another episode of Good Clean Gaming. I'm your host Jalindo, and today we're playing Crusader Kings 2. So Crusader Kings 2 is a game where you lead a dynasty through medieval history. Your decisions determine whether this dynasty goes on to rule all of Europe, or dies out completely, or anything in between. Think of it as a Sims plus world history sandwich. Yum. So, single player, we're going to start a new game. Custom game setup. If you're a fan of history, you'll recognize this as 769. You have to be a really big fan of history to recognize this as 769. You can play through any year. If you're not familiar with the game, you can play through any year between 1066 and 1337. And you start also at 769 and 867. And everything is very authentic to the actual history. So we are going to start with a count because we want to work our way up. I looked over everything. I wanted to start in Lombardy because if you are familiar with this part of history, this is King Carl of West Francia, more popularly known as Karl Lamagne or Charlemagne. He becomes Charlemagne after forming the empire and basically getting rid of his brother. And so this guy's in for a a short-lived gameplay experience here. Also, Charlemagne ends up coming down here into Lombardy, which is Italy, and taking it over. So within 5 years historically, Lombardy is taken over, I believe. And so I kind of want to fight for the Lombards. So I'm going to go with the weakest character in the whole Lombardy, area that you can play as, and that's a 6-year-old Count Doffer of Bari of the dynasty Gandolfingi. So if you look at the difficulty, it's on impossible. Its base score is, 50%, negative 50%. Count is, plus 50% is the starting score. And then you got the being a count plus 20%, 0 vassals, 0%, young ruler, and small dynasty. Yeah. So this is about the hardest start you can have, and we're going to have fun with it if we survive. So, at first it's going to go kind of slow because being both a child and a count with no vassals, there's not going to be a whole lot of events they're going to trigger. So we're going to be playing on fast mode a lot until we build up our power base. I'm going to go ahead and try to fabricate claims on Taranto because that guy's usually the best target. I think I've actually tried to start this once or twice before and ended up with mods I had to disable, yada yada yada. Had to start over. Also, one previous playthrough, my record and stop recording buttons were the same buttons as the speed up time and slow down time in this game, and so I was completely destroying my video as I was recording. So, yeah, third time's the charm, right? Third time should work, let's say that. I can get 283 army levies. I haven't really played through this expansion, so I don't know all the different features, but yeah. Still learning, so learn with me. Train troops. I'm going to try to kind of consolidate my power here. I'm not going to be focused on research until I become a king or higher because I'm more worried about getting taken over by my neighbors. So we'll be focusing on that not happening. If we die, our half-sister, Arnegisa, will inherit, and that won't end our game, I think, because she's part of our dynasty, therefore it continues the game. So even if we die, we still are okay. Alright, I think we'll start the game running here, and I'll just go ahead and put it on the fastest speed so we can age up quickly. We'll start getting events. We can take a look at our liege here, our guardian. This is the guy that's our guardian. He's a 2-star thrifty clerk, or 2-pip, or 2 whatever you want to call it. Uh-oh, first event. I sneaked through the dungeons, hearing the prisoners pleading for their life, and the coarse laughter from the guards. A knife lay forgotten on the floor, and I brought it with me, only to realize in the daylight why it had felt so sticky. Ew, blood. Popo saw Doffer with the bloody knife. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. I've gained the brave trait. Okay, so I've gained brave. If you're not familiar with this game, you get traits. Excuse me. Let me look at me real quick. We had no traits to start. We have the brave trait now. The brave trait gives us +2 to martial skill, +1 to personal combat, +10% to moral defense, +10 vassal opinion, +10 same trait opinion, and -10 opposite trait opinion. If you love numbers, this is the game for you. If you love tooltips, this is the game for you. If you love history, this is the game for you. If you love all of those things together, stop whatever you're doing, sell everything you own, and buy this game. It is just the absolute bestest thing you will ever do. I'll read all these things that come up. I read them the first time, and then subsequent times I will just click through and let you know what happens. My liege, since I arrived in Bari, there has never been a shortage of soldiers reinforcing the troop station there. Under our guidance, they believe fame and fortune awaits them. Your humble marshal. So we got more reinforcement rate. That's good. Awesome. It means that if we're actually at war, we'd be reinforcing faster. Since we're not at war, I don't think it actually helps us, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Yes, I am wrong. It also gives you more troops, which is pretty cool. Especially considering we only have one county. It's actually 50% more than our starting amount. And, you know, since we are waiting for things to happen, you can mouse over certain things on here and see what they do and see, you know, what they're used for, how many points they have, where they're getting their points from, all that stuff. It's like marshals used for combat. We're getting +2 from brave, and we have a base of 3. That goes up over time, you know, as I'm learning and growing, or as this character is. Inquisitive, curious, and friendly, I always am the first to greet strangers. Hi, what's your name? Gains the trait gregarious. Now, anything that I gain, if my guardian decides that that's not something he wants, not a trait he wants me to have, he can take action and kind of reverse that trait or remove that trait. So I'm gaining gregarious, which I like. But unfortunately, my guardian has decided that he'd rather me be shy. I have lost to diplomacy. Shy is a very bad trait because it only gives a negative. There's no positive to being shy that I know of. On the screen, obviously, you can see like army levies, gold, prestige, piety, gold being used to purchase things, prestige used for things like vassal opinion and other character opinion, and also, you know, score. Piety is used for score and diplomacy with the Pope, things like that. We don't have a wife yet. We are Catholic. We have a liege who's Duke Aurelius, the lawgiver, which he already has. It's surprising to see someone who's that low to have a title given to him, but cool. Usually you see that on like emperors and kings. That must be something historically that he is assigned. Okay, so we got more troops again. Awesome. Is that going to boost us even more, or are we maxed? We're pretty much maxed, so that doesn't help us anymore. The Lords of Lombardy have approved the Limited Crown Authority Law. So that means there's a change in how we can relate to the other vassals. So we get a lot of autonomy. They can use our troops in war. Not mine, because I don't think they can use them. Actually, yeah, they can use mine. It's been a while since I played this game. So cool. They get some of our levy, basically, is what it amounts to. And as that authority goes up, our levy, by the way, is our military. But as that authority goes up, we won't be able to like attack each other, we'll lose certain rights, yada yada yada. So we want to prevent that from going up. However, preventing that from going up means that our king is weak or weaker. And so you kind of want it to be high enough to where if you're under someone, they can defend themselves, but low enough to where you can still do what you need to do. So the Pope has died and has been replaced by Pope Severinus II. So Pope Stephen III is gone. We have a new Pope. Pope, 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 Pope. Pope, 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 Pope. Up in the top right, you can see different notifications. A cardinal was given a seat in the College of Cardinals. This whole game is a huge, huge, ginormous simulation of what-if history, basically. So if you're a fan of what-if history, this is definitely something you should check out. So we are still growing up. We are 9 now. How time has flown. We were 6 when we started. We're 9 now. We are defending against Charlemagne, basically, in the West Francian claim on Lombardy. So Charlemagne is trying to claim Lombard for his own. Your liege, Duke Aurelius II, has issued a decree calling for the expulsion of all unlanded Jews from the entire realm, citing various grievances committed by them against the crown. I see. So as part of this game, there was an expansion where you could have dealings with the Jewish population in the Jewish, I guess, I forget the word. I don't want to use the wrong word here, but basically when the Jews were spread out across Europe after, I guess, Israel was taken over, or I forget how that all worked. I don't want to assume on any kind of important history matters like that. So anyway, the Jewish people end up spread out across Europe, and you have dealings with them based on, you know, how they had dealings with them back then. You can take loans from them, and you can also expel them, and you can go on pilgrimages and all kinds of stuff. You can become Jewish, all that kind of stuff. My liege, I have collected a tithe in Bari. The money should reach you together with this letter. Your humble steward, Popo. So my steward is also my mentor, so that's pretty cool. Excellent news, 9.65 gold. So we got more money. Thank you, Popo. Popo. I don't know how to pronounce that properly. He seems like a pretty good guardian, although I wish you were a higher star steward, because that would mean that we're most likely going to get a 2-star as our final trait, our educational quality. Our domain is 1 of 4. That means we can get 3 more counties, which will be cool. Most people have good hearts. A stranger is just a friend I have yet to meet. They all mean well. I have gained the trait kind. Awesome. I actually got to keep that one. I like all the positive traits. I like to play as a good guy, you know, good character. So I would have preferred to have gregarious, brave, and kind, and that would be like a trifecta of awesomeness for me. Traits are growing pretty well. I like how well our guardian is teaching us. We don't have any claims to anything, I don't think. So we can't really do anything, can't really attack. We're just kind of almost in a waiting game to turn into adult and start actually interacting with the world. A group of hedge knights has come to visit Bari. Gumpert has met with them and asked for my reply. Welcome them with a lavish feast. I can gain gregarious. I already have gregarious. Oh, I don't have gregarious. I can reverse that shy into a gregarious. That's a double jump of traits. Get rid of one, replace it with another. That is probably what I'm going to go for. I can welcome them reluctantly and get a little bit of prestige and lose a little bit of gold, or I can refuse them access and make a lot of people unhappy with me and lose some prestige. I'm definitely going to go with this because I want gregarious and I want to replace that shy trait so bad. So I do that, and you look at this. I jumped up 4 because I lost the -2 and I gained a +2, and it goes up to 7, which is sweet. The Hedge Knights have participated in a minor tournament together with our knights in Bari. Sadly, one of those landless vagabonds have been severely injured. I think the Hedge Knights were like mercenary, you know, knights for hire that went around. I can't quite remember, but that's what comes to mind. We can either pay for some medication and send them on their way, or allow them to stay in the castle until they recover, and I would gain just. So I definitely want to gain just. Again, going for a good quality, nice character. This gives me 2 stewardship, 1 learning, some vassal opinion, some same trade opinion. Sweet. So we're actually turning into quite a good little kid. About 5 more years. You turn into an adult at age 16, at which point you can get married. We could get betrothed at this point, and it would probably behoove me to just, you know, check to see what's available, but I don't think it's going to be a good idea currently. I think we should wait till we have our title and adulthood. My friends dream of riches, power, and fancy things, but I don't ever want to grow up. I don't even want to grow up. I am happy with what I have. Gains content. I hate content as a trait. It makes I love having vassals that are content. That it's really good to have vassals as content because it gives them it makes them like you more if you're their liege, but it lowers your intrigue, and that's all it really does for you as a character, from what I understand. There are some experts to this game that can tell you all the inner workings and every single event that could possibly fire. I am not one of those people, but I will do my best, and I hope you enjoy. So we're still flying through time here. We're 12 years old now, 4 years before adulthood. It looks like Lombard and the king, Charlemagne, they're kind of at a stalemate, but Lombard is actually on the losing end because they don't really have a military, and Charlemagne is coming in and sieging Lombardy and some of the other areas. So I'm pretty certain that Charlemagne is going to win this war handily, as he did in history. If he does win the war, I believe he seizes all of Lombard. But we're going to keep the Lombard line alive if we can, and see if we can rise to power and bring it back if it falls. So that's our mission in this game, is to keep Lombardy going until, I guess, the Renaissance, really. Grand Mayor and Admaro of Genoa has created the title Republic of Genoa, so now there's a Republic of Genoa, which is interesting. Guess that would be over here, correct? Yep. There's Genoa. If you're unfamiliar with history, Genoa and Venice are two, basically trading powerhouses in this part of history, and so the game does follow them through that. I'm not sure if Venice is yet. Yes, Venice is already going with the merchant republic type. Did I just see Slavonia break off from Serbia, or did I missee that? I don't know. My count, word has reached me that your court chaplain has accused me of heresy. I implore you, as a devout Catholic to another devout Catholic, to believe me when I tell you I am not a heretic. Your humble mayor, Mayor Unicis of Bari. I am sure Mayor Unicis is not a heretic, and then the bishop will not be as happy with me, but the mayor will be happy with me. Or I can say, of course he's a heretic, and I'll get a complimentary letter from the court chaplain. I don't want to make the court chaplain mad at me because I get money from him, I believe. Which one is it? Let me look at it. Gisulf. So this is Gisulf, and this is Unis. They're my only two vassals, and they already don't like each other. That's wonderful. If I take it, I get -10 with the bishop, and I would go down to 38. If I don't take it, I don't really get anything, I don't think, from him. I could be wrong. I don't want to brand this guy a heretic because I don't see him as being a heretic. I don't see anything about his page that says he's a heretic, so I'm just going to be honest and say I'm sure he's not a heretic. The bishop will like me less. I'm already not getting any money from him. I'll get even less money from him now, which you can't have less than 0, so I don't really even worry about it. I have to get money from him tax-wise. He has to like me more than he likes the Pope, and then the tax money will go to me instead. Michel of the Ravinian Peasant Revolt has declared peasant revolt. Oh, and there goes Lombard. And there goes the other part of Francia as well. So all at once, in 777, there is no more Lombard, and there's about to be an empire that Charlemagne is going to rule. Duke Romuald of Benevento has agreed to the demands of the seniority faction. The succession law has been changed. I see. Let me pause for a second. The Kingdom of Italy. The ancient Lombard kingdom was established in Italy after a long history of migration originating in northern Europe. Along the way, the Lombards themselves have changed, both influencing and becoming influenced by the regions they have settled. Now it has finally come to pass that the Lombard lands in Italy no longer have a Lombard ruler, and this effectively spells the end of the name of the Kingdom of the Lombards. We shall henceforth speak of the Kingdom of Italy, but the Lombard heritage shall live on. Yes, it shall live on. So Lombardy is no more. We are still Lombard heritage, but there will be no more Kingdom of the Lombardy. All right, so let me check the succession law real quick. Yep, we're good. I want to make sure that didn't influence my succession. So cool. So I think we're going to break it here and come back for the next episode and see what happens. This seems like a good point to pause. Charlemagne has taken over, and we're going to have to continue underneath his rule. So if you enjoyed this video, I really appreciate you watching. Please come back for more. If you did like it, feel free to like, favorite, subscribe, comment, share, all those wonderful nifty things that you can do with YouTube videos. I definitely give you a thumbs up for that. Hopefully you give me a thumbs up for that. And remember, keep it clean.